We're on part 2 of the Unit 4 study guide. So question 22, blank is when the city adds or incorporates, which means add, a new area or areas into the city limits. It's called annexation. So a long time ago, Fayetteville added a lot of places to the city of Fayetteville. So they were once county and now they're added into the city. Some of the perks, you do get city services, like you get police officers, you get fire department, you get like city water, city sewage, you get sidewalks. One of the drawbacks, one of the big cons is that you do pay the higher city tax in addition to your county property tax. So some people don't like to be annexed. Number 22, if a person feels that they have been wrongfully fired from their job, they can file a complaint. And when you file a complaint, you do it at the courthouse. Once a complaint has been filed, it will cause a lawsuit. So this is a civil thing. You felt like you were wrongfully fired or let go from your job. Maybe they didn't have documentation, but you felt you were wronged. You were harmed in some way. Remember, if it's a crime, then it's criminal law, and the law is going to go after them. The police are going to go after them. If it's just a wrong, it is you pursuing it. Number 24, blank are used by prosecutors to determine if there is enough evidence to go forward with a trial against a suspect. It's a grand jury. So you can request, it's part of your Fifth Amendment constitutional rights, you can request a grand jury. So you're saying, I would like to go ahead and see if there is actually enough evidence for you to stop my life during this trial, particularly like murder cases. A lot of prosecutors like to use them in first-degree murder. So all the grand jury is going to do is they're going to determine, does the prosecutor, the state, have enough to go forward with real charges? Okay. All right, number 25, NRA, PETA, and AARP are all good examples of special interest groups. So all of these groups are things that people can join. They join with a fee, so there's a club membership fee. But what they do is they hire lobbyists who help them advocate for their group and their interest with their group. So like NRA would be about gun rights, and PETA would be about animal rights, and then AARP is for senior citizens. So they would go ahead and they would advocate to lawmakers for special like laws that would help out their group. Number 26, after a person has broken the law, the next step in a criminal case is the arrest. So after someone's actually broken the law, you're going to need to go ahead and arrest them if you want to go forward with the actual case against the person. Number 27, the first time a case is heard is known as original jurisdiction. And this is going to typically be done at state courts. States really do most of the law enforcement in our country. So, and it's really going to be more like city, county stuff. So it'll be your county courthouses that hear a case for the first time. And depending on what the case is, the crime is going to be where it will actually be heard. So it could be district or superior. Number 28. So zoning allows cities to plan areas set aside for residential or commercial use. So this is why you need to look before you open up a business at your house. Are you zoned to have a commercial, a business in your home? If not, you have to go and you have to ask the city, could you rezone my neighborhood to allow me to have my hair salon, or to allow me to have my home business, my photography place here? Okay. So, public hearings, forums, town hall meetings, these are all going to be done to allow you, the people in the area, to voice your concerns or support for the proposed changes. So in public hearings, forums, and town hall meetings, the public is informed. There's going to be little zoning like notifications in the area. Hey, we're going to have a meeting. Here's where it's going to be. This is the day, the time, and you as citizens in the area can go ahead and go to that zoning meeting and see if you would like to really make those changes. So they're going to propose it. They're going to tell you what they hope that it will accomplish, and you can ask questions, and ultimately you could vote it down. Number 29. Exclusive jurisdiction is when only one court can hear a case. A good example would be like a federal tax issue. It can only be heard at the U.S. tax court. So exclusive jurisdiction is only this court can hear it. And sometimes these are specialty courts, like the U.S. tax court is a specialty court. They specialize in tax law, and tax laws are very complicated. So you would need an expert of judges who would actually know the fine parts of those laws. So that would be why you would go to a special court. Number 30, U.S. Supreme Court, or you could say the Supreme Court of the United States, is the highest court in the land and has final say on all laws and constitutional issues. So anything that deals with the United States Constitution, it's going to be them. The justices are going to review it. They also get to review all lower court decisions, and everything's lower than them. So if someone does want their case to be reviewed, remember you have to appeal it up to them. They only hear less than 100 a year, but they're going to hear cases that they feel they need to hear. So it'll be cases that are constitutional. It'll be cases that they haven't heard before or haven't heard something similar before that they feel they need to hear. Okay. All right, so 31, what are the levels of the federal court system and the jurisdictions of each? So for the federal court, all you got to do is look at the United States Supreme Court. It's the highest court in the land, and they're going to be at the very, very top of your power pyramid. So they're the highest court. They have 9 justices. 1 is the Chief Justice. They do mainly appellate jurisdiction, so they mainly do appeals, so they hear things from lower courts. They have original jurisdiction over some cases. So if it's a case that's dealing between like 2 states suing each other, they would have original jurisdiction in that. Because if North Carolina and South Carolina are suing each other, you obviously couldn't have the case in either one of those states' courts. So the United States Supreme Court would hear that case. So there's some things that they do have original jurisdiction in, but for the most part, what the Supreme Court does is right there, appeals jurisdiction. So the court that is directly below them is the United States Court of Appeals or the United States Circuit Court. So these are words that are interchangeable. Okay, so don't get confused by them. But what they do is they hear cases on review from the lower courts. They don't have any original jurisdiction. All they have is appellate jurisdiction, appeals jurisdiction. That's all they do. The next court, the court that's the lowest in our federal court system, is the district courts. So this is the lowest level in our federal courts. There's 94 of them, and we have one in all our states pretty much. In some states that are big, you have way more, like California has a lot. But what happens at our district court, this is the first time a case has been heard over most cases, and they don't ever do any appellate. So you'll have judges, you'll have juries. So that's our federal court system. Number 32, what are the levels of the state court system and jurisdictions of each? So North Carolina is pretty much like the federal government, as most states really are, but North Carolina has an extra court that we've thrown in. So at the very, very top of our court system is the North Carolina Supreme Court. It has the highest court in our land. It's got the original jurisdiction in any constitutional issue of North Carolina. So North Carolina has a constitution just like all the other states. And so it deals with those issues, and it has appellate in all lower court decisions. So they will review stuff from all of these. Justices only, no jury, because we need them to be experts in the Constitution of North Carolina and experts in like procedure of court and how court flows. The court below them would be the North Carolina Circuit Court or the North Carolina Court of Appeals. So at the appeals court, they only have appellate jurisdiction because the name is right there. They review cases from our superior and our district court, so they review it from below them. Judges only, again, we need experts, no juries. In the North Carolina Superior Court, they have original jurisdiction in in felonies and major lawsuit cases over 10,000. So a felony, remember, is a very serious crime. You're looking at prison time. So that's more than a year. It could be, you get rehab. It could be, but you're looking at a serious punishment. Okay. So it's not a fine. It's not a ticket. Okay. So in this court, you would have a judge and you would have a jury. In the North Carolina District Court, they have original jurisdiction in what we call misdemeanor cases. So, misdemeanor would be less serious crimes like jaywalking, littering, speeding is a misdemeanor. These are things that you could see fines for, tickets for, less than a year of jail time, rehab, community service. Those are the kind of punishments you're looking at. They also deal with less serious lawsuits that are under $10,000, so small claims court. And that's what they pretty much call it. A lot of your divorces, your child custody, it's going to be here in the district court. It'll be judges only, particularly when it deals with children. Okay, remember juvenile court is way different than our adult court. So, number 33, who appoints the justices on the Supreme Court and how is it checked? So, the president always appoints. So, the president has a list of people that they have in case a justice does decide to retire. And remember, once you're appointed to the Supreme Court, you are appointed for life. So, as long as you are doing everything legal and you're not breaking the law and you're able to do the job, you have the job. But because of how long you can have the job, the Constitution does say that the Senate has to approve all appointments. And you just got to have a simple 51%. So there's 100 senators, and if you do get a 50-50, like 50 senators are like no, 50 senators are yes, remember the Vice President of the United States is in charge of the Senate, and the Vice President will throw the tie-breaking vote. So this is a check on the president's power. Remember, our principles of the Constitution, there is always a check to each other's branches and their powers. Number 34, what is the role of a grand jury and a petit jury? So a grand jury determines if there's enough evidence to go forward with a trial. So it's kind of are my ducks lined up? Am I going to be able to get a conviction? Prosecutors who represent the state like to use grand juries because they want to ensure that they're going to get a conviction when it comes to murder trials. Because remember, they cannot come back after you if you are cleared, you're found innocent, acquitted in a criminal court. So, like, they can't keep pursuing you. So, a lot of times they like to do grand juries. You have the constitutional right, it's your Fifth Amendment, so you can request it. A petit jury is just a regular jury. So this is a trial jury. So it determines the verdict in civil and criminal cases. And both of these will be juries of your peers. So you could get pulled for either one of these when you do jury duty. But all like a grand jury is like a pre-trial. Like, let's see if we've got everything we need to go forward with a real trial. And then the petit jury is just your regular jury trial. So at what level are most cases heard? State. And they're mainly local. So like you're going to have your county courthouses doing most of the stuff. So crimes are prosecuted at state level, district or superior. For us in North Carolina, district is going to be your misdemeanor, superior is going to be your felonies. And your civil lawsuits, most of them are done at state levels as well. It'll be district or superior. District if it's under 10,000 because it's small claims, and if it's over 10, it's going to be in a superior court. Most of your law enforcement is done at your state local level. It is not really done at the federal level. Okay. Most of the time when people are suing each other, they're suing a person. They're not necessarily always suing a huge corporation where the federal government would need to get involved. Number 36, in North Carolina, felony cases are going to be heard at superior, while misdemeanors are going to be heard at district. Civil cases under 10,000 are going to be heard at your district, and above 10,000 are going to be heard at your superior. Why do I keep repeating it? I want you to know it.